Hey, what's up ladies and gents, SpoonyPizzas here, back with another eFootball 2024 video. Today we're going to be looking at how I leveled up my central midfielders, starting things off with Jud Bellingham. Now I did actually do a whole video dedicated to this build because it is just so effective. It managed, I wanted him to be very balanced, enabling him to do the defensive side of things adequately and offensive side of things because he's a box-to-box player and I wanted to really maximize that. I've tried the whole player Bellingham, but for me personally, the box-to-box absolutely suits his stats down to the ground. He's got good physical contact, he's got good balance, he's got great stamina, he's got great tight possession, he's got some defensive capabilities as well. Honestly, this build is absolutely insane and he has been an absolute revelation to my team. And with his speed and acceleration, that's going to give him long strides, especially because he's a fairly tall player, 186 centimeters in height. That's going to enable him to take these big long strides and unleash some fierce drives with that 82 kicking power. So he can offer a real goal threat from range, especially if we look at his player skills. So he's got rising shot, first time shot, so it does give you that ability to score those long range goals. Then he's got one touch passing, he's got interception, so he can do the passing aspect, he can do the defensive aspect, and then he's got some beautiful skills as well, such as double touch and soul control. So he literally can do everything you want. And this build has been so good for me. Like I said, go check out the video based solely on Jud Bellingham just to see why he's so good. And this is how I built him. So 4 for shooting, 6 for passing, 8 for dribbling, 5 for dexterity, 5 for lower body strength, 5 for aerial strength, and 6 for defending. And I would give this build a 9 out of 10 rating. Next up is Kadinga. Now, very similar sort of style of build to the Jud Bellingham one. I wanted a player that could do everything, but he's got a different player style. So he's an orchestrator. So he's going to offer you something completely different. He's going to be sort of a little bit withdrawn from the attacks. And what I find is he will literally run from left side of the pitch to the right side of the pitch. He'll stay central, he'll move around, but he'll always be fairly close to the player with the ball. And I really like this because it feels like you're getting plenty of support from him. So he's always offering himself open for the ball. And then if you do need to make a run into that box, he has got that acceleration, that burst of speed that's going to help get in there. He feels a little bit more maneuverable than Jud Bellingham, but he's not going to take those long strides like Jud Bellingham does because he doesn't need to break into the box. His role is just to sort of support, just keep the ball moving, cycle the ball around, help you retain possession, and he does a great job at this. And again, I made a whole video on this guy, so go check it out. But honestly, I just wanted a really nice balanced build because I wanted to take advantage of his player skills. So the interception for the defensive side of things, the slide tackling, and then we got the passing, the weighted passing, the one-touch passing, all that good stuff as well. And honestly, he's one of my favorite midfielders. Well, orchestrators. And this is how I spec'd him. 8 for passing, 8 for dribbling, 8 for dexterity, 5 for lower body strength, 5 for aerial strength, and 8 for defending. And I would give this build a 9 out of 10. Now, I know a lot of you have been asking about my Pedri creative playmaker build because you've seen what he does on the pitch and you see the dribbling ability, and not just from an offline point of view but an online point of view as well. Honestly, I use him mostly as a substitute to come on around the 70th minute when I'm playing online. Reason for this is because his physical contact is pretty low, but when he does come on, he can hold the ball up so well. Honestly, he can just skip around players online so easily, and I don't know, this player just seems to have that extra player ID that no other player has, and his ball control and dribbling, and honestly, this build is just perfect. It's just literally perfect. I know there's another build of him now, I think is an orchestrator, but this was quite an old build. As you can see, I've only got 162 days left on his contract, so it is an older version of Pedri. So if you do have the creative playmaker, these are the stats you want to sort of boost in this sort of fashion. Taking a look at his player skills, obviously, the one-touch passing, the through passing, pinpoint crossing, outside curler, I wanted to take advantage of that, so that's why I focused on boosting his low pass. I didn't want to make him a finisher, so I left his finishing alone, I'm pretty sure, when I came to the build, but he doesn't really have all that much kicking power, so there was just too many stats to increase the kicking power and the finishing when I could just make him more of an assister or a playmaker or a passer of the ball, and that's what I want to use him for. a lot of the times I just stall the play with him. I just pass him the ball, run around a few players. If I want to take a piss out of my opponent, I can do that because he's got so much ability on the ball, and it can really frustrate players, especially if they're trying to get the ball back quickly. He gives this guy and suddenly he's like twisting in and out, left and right. They don't know what to do with him. They bring players out of defense, and then he just plays my striker in, who goes on to score. So honestly, this build is absolutely fantastic. I'm going to share that with you right now. So it's 7 for shooting. I did actually put some points into shooting. 8 for passing, 8 for dribbling, 8 for dexterity, 8 for lower body strength, and 8 for defending. In all honesty, I'd probably actually respec him and take those points out of shooting. You could say that's pretty risky, but he doesn't. I'm pretty aware of his shooting ability is pretty naff, so I may put those points elsewhere and boost some other aspects of him. But honestly, this build is so good. I'm a bit afraid to touch it in all honesty, and I'm going to give this player, or this build, a 10 out of 10. Next up is another orchestrator in Veratti, and honestly, for the longest time on my PlayStation 5 and my PC now, he has been one of my favorites. In my opinion, he's better than Kimmich. Even though Kimmich seems to have better stats, this player just seems to outperform him in every single way. Again, I like to use him just as a support, much like Camavinga, although I'd say Camavinga has now surpassed Veratti as my number 1 orchestrator, but he still offers a lot for me from the bench if I need him, or if I need to play 2 orchestrators. He's got some great skills: one-touch passing, through passing, weighted passing, low lofted passing. The only thing he does lack is interception and blocker, so you may want to try and add those through the additional player skills. But what this build gives you is a very nimble player on the ball, someone who can keep the ball moving and do some and has some great defensive qualities too, as you can sort of see from his aggression and his tackling and defensive engagement. And this is how I expect him: 5 for passing, 8 for dribbling, 8 for dexterity, 8 for lower body strength, and 8 for defending. And I would give this a 9 out of 10 build. And last but not least is Paul Pogba, box to box. Now I recently re-signed him because his old contract had expired. Now I did do a whole video on Pogba as well on the old build, but this build is nowhere near as good. Unfortunately, they changed some of his stats. You know, I've only played 3 games with this guy, but I've already tried 2 different builds and neither seem to be working right now. So at the minute, this player is a 5 out of 10, but I'm going to share with you the build anyway. It's 8 for passing, 10 for dribbling, 12 for dexterity, 6 for lower body strength. But in all honesty, I wouldn't waste your time with this Paul Pogba. I'll catch you next time, where I'm going to share some of my other midfielders with you very shortly. Like I said, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.